Argyll Metals is a UK limited company developing domestic gold and critical mineral projects in Scotland. In the wake of the UK government's updated critical minerals strategy, which aims to reduce reliance on foreign suppliers by 2035, Argyll is fast-tracking development of its flagship Knapdale project, where prior drilling hit 41.8 grams per tonne of gold and 0.26% of antimony. Headed by Jo Battershill, the company is steered by seasoned board of directors and advisors, and founder and director Jo Battershill joins me today to talk about the company. Jo, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm very good, Alan. And yourself? Good to see you again.
Very good to see you again. It's been a busy few years, hasn't it? We last spoke when you were chief executive at Anglesey Mining, and you've since moved to head up AIRSEC's listed silver mines in Australia, alongside, of course, your interest in Argyll Metals. What do you do in your spare time?
Spare time? What's that? Look, Alan, I think, when mining's booming, there's no time to rest, is there? And I think I once read a quote that said, you need 3 booms in your life, because you kind of don't realize you're in the first one, and the second one you don't play it correctly. So the third one is hopefully when you make all your money. And I think I've been in this for just under 30 years, and I think this is the third one now, I think.
Okay, well, let's hope it's the boom time for all of us. But Jo, the Knapdale project has already posted some exciting numbers, and I love the idea of these walk-up drill targets. It's a very evocative statement. How does this project compare or rate in terms of potential alongside some of the other mining projects you've worked on?
That's a great question, Al. And look, I think it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, you very rarely find projects where there's not many people been walking over the ground before. A lot of my career has been spent in Australia. There's the wonderful high-grade goldfields of Victoria and New South Wales, and obviously in Western Australia as well. And if this land was in any of those states, or if it was in Canada, I mean, this would have been drilled out. It would have been mined centuries ago. And so to be presented this opportunity as a company and for an investment perspective, I think it's phenomenal. We have a series of high-grade veins, high-grade gold, silver, antimony veins at surface that we've effectively traced for almost 4 kilometers along strike. There's a series of drill holes that were put in 2017 and 2020, so relatively recently, that have actually drilled. I mean, there were scout diamond holes. And across those 2 programs, there were 15 drill holes drilled put into the high-grade gold system, and 12 of them hit gold with elevated silver and/or antimony, and so that hit rate is really quite phenomenal. And the history here is that there was a very small open pit developed at a place called Stronhulen, which is the northern end of the Knapdale project. It was a very, very small open pit back in, I think it was 1906, by the grandfather of the local owner, of the current owner, who's our landlord. And it was not touched since 1906, and basically followed up with some exploration and the scout programs. So really, the discovery of these extended veins was in 2017. So this is a relatively new discovery. It's not been through the hands of multiple owners. I think we're the 3rd owner, and second private owner. And so, look, we think that to have walk-up targets, as you say, on a system where at surface we're picking up, we've had multiple grab samples of 30, 40, 50 grams per ton gold. Of the 12 holes that have hit the vein system at depth. If you put a 2-gram cutoff on those intersections, you've got an average width of about 1.2 meters at close to 10 grams plus silver plus antimony. Now, whilst 1.2 meter width doesn't sound massive, every hole has multiple veins in it. So this is a vein swarm type deposit, we believe, that I think is going to present multiple opportunities down the track with drilling and additional exploration. Very keen to sort of distinguish the Knapdale project from other deposits within the Dalradian, and the Dalradian gold belt, or the Dalradian belt, is, I think, one of the most underexplored high-grade gold belts in the world, and there's already a number of deposits within that belt, including Kavanagh Core and Curry Gold over in Northern Ireland, and then obviously Collinish, which is only 35-40 miles away from us as a crow flies. I mean, Collinish has had its issues. I think it's a terrific deposit. I think it'll end up being a very profitable little mine. But I'm very keen to distinguish that we have a very different style to Collinish, and the Knapdale project is much more. It's got many analogies to the plus 6 billion ounce 14 gram deposit over at Curragh over in Northern Ireland. So that's our exploration play here, Alan. It's not to look for another Collinish, is to try and identify another Curragh Gold.
Okay. Well, Jo, of course, you've also got the Lorne Plateau and Lochfine projects, which are both prospective for copper, gold, and other critical minerals. Are these projects as accessible as Knapdale?
Look, I mean, all of these projects, in terms of geography and accessibility, this is a wonderful part of the world to be exploring. I mean, Scotland's always had a bit of a track record because it's freehold land ownership, and you end up having to have an agreement with every landowner that you want to be dealing with, and unfortunately for us, is we're dealing with very, very few landowners. So it's been possible for us to get these agreements in place, and so in terms of accessibility, getting to the location or to the field, you can drive to all of them. With Lorne Plateau, once you drive up onto the plateau, there's a bit of a walk in. But in terms of getting into these places and actually being able to do work physically, this is it's a great place to be. From an agreement perspective, we have a long form mineral rights option agreement on the Knapdale project. We're currently in discussions with the Argyll estate on the Lochfine project for the long form mineral rights option agreement. We've already done some drilling there, which we can talk about. And Lorne Plateau, we have the exclusive exploration and access rights, and we're in the process of negotiating sort of further access there. But Lorne Plateau is really quite an interesting one. I mean, now that again, it sounds sort of a bit blasé to say it's a walk up target, and I don't want to be blasé at all. But this project is a series of coincident VTEM and gravity anomalies. There's 3 major regional structures that it's almost like X marks the spot on this one. And it's just 8 kilometres to the north of the Lagerlochen porphyry system, which was discovered in the 70s. And the best intersection at Lagerlochen was over 500 metres at 0.2 copper, 0.1 gold, and some molybdenum from surface, or from 3 metres depth. So we look at that and we kind of go, well, we know we're in a porphyry system here. And when you look at the gravity anomaly and the general geophysics, it could be quite possible to postulate an arm wave that we've got the sort of the central, feeder system or the bulk of the gravity anomaly. So look, that's a very exciting one, and really that's we think that would be a 400 meter hole to get into any potential type mineralization. So it's we're not ready to drill that just yet, and we need that access finalized. But a cracking target, absolutely cracking target. And the Lochfine on the Argyll estate, I mean, we've been exploring around there for a couple of years now, and a lot of I mean, this is all land that's never been explored before. Well, it's never been drilled before. It was explored in the early 70s by Consolidated Goldfields, but the work done was very basic, and so we've sort of redone a lot of that work in terms of geochem, soil, rock chip sampling, and some geophysics. We've highlighted 3 outcropping high grade nickel, copper, platinum, palladium systems there with some staggering grades, Alan. Staggering grades. I mean, walking up, we're just picking up 5% nickel, 3% copper, and combined sort of up to 1 to 1.3 grams platinum, palladium, and gold. And we did drill one of these targets last year, and unfortunately the system was faulted out. But you get that. We look back now, and it probably wasn't the best target, but it was the one that was the most accessible with all the agreements in place. Nickel's a bit on the nose at the moment, right? So I mean, hence the flagship is Knapdale. I mean, we're seeing record highs in gold and silver every night at the moment, which is nice, and long may it last. And so really, Knapdale is the one to start on.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Joe, let's talk about the board. You've attracted an array of heavyweights onto the board. You've got Sean Wade, Kayleigh Barker, Mark Nally. It says a lot, that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about Argyll and, of course, the asset base that you've just described.
Oh, I appreciate that, but yeah, no, look, I'm very happy with the board, and Mark is an advisor of the board. He's on the board, and we have Doug Hall as well. I mean, don't forget Doug. Doug is.
Sorry, Doug.
You know, no. Doug, well, he's a lawyer. He won't mind. No, but look, I mean, Doug is critical to this. I mean, he is a Scottish trained lawyer that went to Australia and basically ran the mining finance practice for Northern Wales Fulbright in Western Australia for many years. He's now back. He's with Argyll Metals and Anglesey as well, and he's very, very knowledgeable, and his understanding of Scottish law, which is obviously very different from law from anywhere else in the world, is integral to us moving forward. Kayleigh and Sean, I mean, I think their backgrounds speak for themselves. I mean, Kayleigh is a world-class geologist that spent a decade working at the world's largest mining investment fund. Do I need to say anything else? Actually, no, I do need to say one thing else, and that's when he did his master's projects at university were all on the gold deposits in the Dalradian belt. So he brings that extra little extra bit of depth that really adds to the story. Sean Wade, I mean, Sean will be very familiar with Sean. I mean, his background speaks for itself. Power Metals is powering along, right? I mean, and he's got a wonderful track record with a number of entities on the London Exchange. I think everybody brings something to this board, and having Mark in the background as a proven performer and someone that has done this before. He's taken early stage assets in a private company and turned them into $1 billion of assets and $1 billion companies. Obviously, Moxico is the most recent example, and he's a tremendous asset to have behind us.
Excellent. Well, on to funding, Joe, you've launched a fundraise on Crowdcube to fund and fast track development at Knapdale. How's it going, and can you tell us how the funds will be deployed?
Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, crowdfunding. I mean, it is new to me. I'm not going to lie, Alan. I mean, obviously, I've got almost 20 years experience in global financial markets and crowdfunding. It's real eye opener for me, and I think it's amazing. Every day we're getting there's I receive an email every time a bid comes in, so we're seeing money flow in, which is amazing. But I think in terms of use of funds, as we said earlier, clear lead asset here is to try and advance the Knapdale gold project. So we've got 15 holes in there, with 12 of which have hit good mineralization. We did a geophysical survey there about 12 months ago, which identified a quite a large resistivity anomaly about 100 meters below the deepest hole, the deepest intersection. A resistivity can generally, one of the interpretations for resistivity anomaly could be more quartz or metal. So that's a bit of a no-brainer to go and plug a hole into there. But fundamentally, all of the original drilling is sort of deemed to be scout holes. This next round of drilling could have a sort of an element of infill drilling in it, as well as some extensional drilling. Any funds we get in, we really want to put it into the ground in drilling. And since the formation of Argyll, we've got about 90% of our funding has gone into the ground. So we're here to make the shareholders a lot of money and generate results. So timing. Look, I mean, we once we've got the funds in the bank, we have work programs that we know we want to do. We've got drill holes that have been planned for 12 months and just waiting for the opportunity. So once the funds are in the bank, we think we can move quite quickly and hopefully start generating some very good and very high grade results for this system and for UK investors.
So, Joe, can you then summarise the 2026 action plan for Argyll Metals?
Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, it's obviously get the funding done, and then we want to bring a rig to site as soon as possible and start drilling. The scale of that drill program will obviously depend on the success of the funding. However, I think should we start hitting some decent results, then success begets success, doesn't it? Hopefully, and if the commodity markets are still where they are, or even close to where they are now on the gold and silver front, antimony, then I think there'll be support for the market, or for the NC in the market. I mean, I'd love to be able to say, Alan, that the intention of this next drill program is to generate an initial or an inaugural resource for this deposit, and we'd love to be in that. We'd love to get to that position. Whether we can do that will depend on sort of the funds raised, but we'll certainly go a long way to being able to get out a first resource on this project.
Excellent. Well, Joe, we wish you and the board every success in completing the Crowdcube fundraise, and of course, great success with the upcoming Knapdale drill campaign. Jo Battershill, founder at Argyll Metals, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan, and have a great Christmas.
You too. Have a great Christmas.